Magik, Mounds and Mireals, today's show with Anita Perez. You had a long visit, Anita?
Yes, yes, I certainly have. But you know what? Even though I've been here for quite a while, it wasn't long enough to really explore comprehensively.
We're gonna try to talk you into moving here. So how about you call in or something? How's that? Would even be better if you had a, what do you call that? When you live somewhere, a house. Whoever wants Anita for a house guest, not guest, attendant, right?
I have a couple of cats.
Yeah.
But they're very well behaved.
Yes.
Except when they're couch surfing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so we have a few minutes here on your show. By the way, this is Anita's show. That's why I'm not in it. I'm just running my mouth.
The unseen narrator.
Yes. So we already, in the last show, we went to several places, so we still haven't been to the powwow, but that's okay.
That's true. That's true. The powwow is coming up day after tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
and
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I've never been to a powwow before.
Yeah.
And, well, we've been to a bunch of places since the last time we were on camera.
We outran the storm.
And maybe even talked the storm into delaying its appearance here.
But it's coming.
We went to the Mounds.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting place.
But
I have to say.
It's not what it was. It is totally dead. Doesn't seem like there's any life left. And I'm so disappointed.
Well, the sense I got was that there's some kind of calm before the storm that's coming. And I don't mean just the bad weather that we maybe sidestepped for a day or two. But it's as if there's a hush of anticipation.
They're looking for Bigfoot. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it was just disappointing because I know what I'm used to, but my mamas haven't been the same in quite some time, and I have talked about that. So, all right.
Well, this being my first visit to the Mounds, I wouldn't know what they were like before.
Yeah.
But after reading all of the information at the little pavilion that has all those educational signs and displays, I have to say that I do not agree that this is the result of moraines left by glaciers.
Oh, gophers.
Because gophers?
Oh, you didn't see the gopher part? Oh, they said it was made by giant gophers.
No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I come from moraine country. I live in New England, and we have moraines all over the region. So I've seen lots and lots of glacial type of remnants in the stony fields of New England. They say that the most successful crop that New England gardeners can grow is stones.
Oh, wow.
Because no matter how many you drag out of your field, there always seem to be more.
Yeah.
What they used to do is, when they plowed, and they kept on plowing up stones, they would bring them to the verges of the fields and pile them there, and that was the genesis of the famous New England stone fence.
Oh, how cool. Yeah. Then we went to, we attempted Tomato Falls Park.
Yes, and we went there 3 times. The first 2 times, they were closed, even though it was before closing time. But I have to say that the second time, I really completely understood it because it was the day of the snow.
Yeah.
And it began to snow as we were on our way home, and it was very rapid accumulation. So I guess they knew it was coming, and they closed early because of that. Very understandable.
Yeah. But you finally got to see it.
Yes. The third time was the charm.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, breathtaking. I have lots and lots of great pictures of swirling waters and mossy rocks and all kinds of stuff. But I only showed you the highlights because, well, you all live here.
That's right, and I actually have pictures of the fish jumping up the falls in. We caught them in mid-air, and they're big salmons. That's a long time for the salmon run, you know. Next
Yeah.
time, yeah.
Yeah, maybe next time.
We ate some more.
Yeah, we ate wonderful Middle Eastern pastries at Saphira's Cafe, which I took a picture of, the nice lady who served us. And of course, the star of the show was the pastry.
The pastry, yeah.
It was great. And fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you, the nuts were very large in the pastry, so I wound up with 2 orders of baklava.
And I ended up with goat cheese. But I have enough nuts in my life, I didn't really need any more, thank you.
Well, as one of those nuts in your life,
Deserted me, just up and left. Okay, so what else we have? We went, we crammed a lot in that day. My God, where else did we go?
Wow, well, we bought umbrellas.
Oh, yeah, but we bought, in case we had to go to my mama's in the rain.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so.
And we got some very colorful umbrellas, I have to say.
Spirits, espirits.
Yes.
I don't know if I said that right or not.
Esprit.
We went to TCTV and I was trying to get something nice for Anita to take home with her, and I wanted to give her a toad.
Yes.
T-O-D-E.
No, T-O-T-E.
I know, but I could have sworn it was a T-O-D-E.
But what I got instead
Was
a
that?
little pin.
Yeah.
Swag.
This is a good time for me to explain. It also tell you the newsletters. Anita edits those. No, that's not a fair word. Corrects those for me, and so she knows I make up words. So the toad thing was okay.
Yes, I correct them in as much as you allow.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, your voice, I try to preserve your voice in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Because you have a certain unique, characteristic way of speaking, and sometimes that includes things that are not technically correct. And we just leave them there because it's so much.
These also exist things that don't exist. I mean, it includes things that aren't there. But in March 2014's newsletter, Nita's going to co-author with me, so I'll write a little bit and she'll write, things. So you have that to look forward to. It's on the website. It will be posted March the 1st and stay there permanently.
For better or for worse.
For better or worse. Till they kick me off the internet for being inappropriate.
Yes, but I make a point of being inappropriate, and they haven't kicked me off yet.
Well, they haven't gotten there yet. Just wait.
Oh, except for the time that they kicked me off of Facebook for 2 days for sending too many happy birthday songs.
Birthday songs. I remember that.
Yeah, they'll allow beheadings and naked ladies, but they will not allow me to send too many happy birthday songs.
They didn't want the Beatles. That's all. Yeah.
I send other happy birthday songs.
But back to the places we went. We went to a lot of places. Why can't I remember where we went? We got rolls at for the German friends. Safeway in Tumwater has the closest things to Brötchen you will ever get, and they're $2 for $1. We went there.
Yes, and they're delicious. I have to say, it's funny because they may be similar to German rolls, but they're also similar to Italian rolls.
Yeah.
So, what can I say? We've had many, many, many very good sandwiches.
Oh, we went to Bayview. We went to town, so you could see the water.
Yes. And I really enjoyed the water. I took pictures of the waterfront.
There was only one seagull, which was real unusual. But there were people in little boats out there. They might have fed them already.
True, and that's the day that the spill occurred, right across from where we were. And it's funny because we were admiring how clear the water was right before that.
Right, and then they had the oil spill in the canal and stuff. Yeah, and we saw people with shorts on,
And flip flops,
flip flops. Mm-hmm.
which is insane in this weather.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose if they're accustomed to the damp and the cold, that this might seem like an actual warm spell to them.
I remember I was in Anchorage at the airport one time, 2 days before Christmas, and people were up there in shorts, and I said, "Aren't you cold?" And he smiled at me and he said, "Can't you tell I'm an Eskimo?" He said. So I guess he came from way up north, and Anchorage might have been a heat wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, Anchorage also has an unusually warm zone because of its position. I guess there's warm currents that keep a sort of microclimate. The warmth of the lower regions reaches up higher because of the oceanic currents and the wind currents that correspond to it. Kind of like this part of the country also is a little bit warmer than it should be.
That might be true, but I've never been so cold in my life. No, not true. One time in Europe, I had on a fur coat, waiting for a train, and it felt like I was totally naked. It was that cold, yeah. So then today we went to back to TCTV.
Yes.
Yeah.
And got wonderful interviews with Freddy,
Dobler,
and Dan Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
And Freddy talked about how he got into this business.
Yeah, that's the insert. So.
Yeah. And Dan talked about making a model, a 3D model of the most local stars in relationship to our sun.
So how about we put that insert? Let's put the interviews right here, so you know what we're talking about. So here they are, Freddy, Dobler, and right behind that, without interruptions, that would be Dan Bennett.
Yes. Well, this is supposed to be a visit with a person of high strangeness. So, should we have a little contest about who's stranger?
Oh, sure. I think the strangest thing that I do is I help produce a daily TV show, and we've been going for 1,230 some odd episodes at this point. That's strange, maybe.
I think that's pretty strange. That would qualify, in my opinion, for high strangeness. How's this? I once adopted a feral cat colony and had 23 cats.
Wow, that is strange.
Overnight.
But one that sounds really cute too.
Well, the guy who bought the property in back of me was systematically poisoning and trapping them.
Oh no.
So I took them on and decided that they were mine.
Yeah, that's good.
And I had them fixed and immunized as I could afford to. And gradually, because of old age and attrition, they dropped out of this reality one
Sure.
by one. And now they are no longer with us.
Well, I'm glad that they had a better end of their life than being poisoned. That's great.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty strange.
Yeah,
though.
definitely.
I wish it were less strange. I wish more people would do things like that.
Yeah.
But they don't,
That's true.
unfortunately. So, how did you come to wind up in a place? How did a nice guy like you wind up in a place like this?
Well, I've been in the Pacific Northwest for most of my life.
Yeah.
I was born in actual Olympia, and then we moved around to different parts of Washington, and then I came back here for college, and it's really just a place that I feel at home and inspired by, and so I love Olympia and Thurston County and the Pacific Northwest, and I'm still here because I see no good reason to leave.
And if there's no good reason to leave, why should you?
Yeah.
But how did you wind up at TCTV?
I actually I was doing college at Evergreen, and for the final quarter of one of my classes, we were supposed to either do a quarter-long project or go find an internship somewhere. And I applied as an intern here at Thurston Community Television, and I got the internship and was working for school credit. And then at the end of the quarter, it also happened that there was somebody from the staff who was leaving at the same time, so I got added on as a permanent part of TCTV, and I just absolutely love it here. It's one of the best parts of the community where people get to share their voices on television, learn new skills in media, and play with fun toys. So.
Oh yes, I especially like the fun toys.
Yeah.
I understand you're getting a whole new bunch of fun toys in.
Yeah.
That are even higher tech.
In 2014, it's going to happen sometime. We got a little timeline here where you get to see what, very good, what kind of stuff we're going to get and when it's going to happen. We're getting full HD studio, and it's going to be a lot of fun because we are going to have 2 robot cameras. So in theory, you could really run a show with just a couple people as your crew, and it still would work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, hello.
There's an interview going on.
Should we take a break?
Sure, we can take a break.
We can take a break, and then I got a question for Freddy, too.
All right. So it's going to be it's going to be 2 big HD cameras in the normal format where you have to have someone holding on to it and zooming in and out and stuff. And then the other 2 cameras are going to be little robots on tripods that from in the studio you can make them pan left to right, tilt up and down, and zoom in and out. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's full in HD, and even though the channel doesn't broadcast in HD, we'll be able to have really nice looking stuff for the viewers or for the producers who put their stuff out on the internet and stuff. So.
Yeah, like on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Vimeo.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what a good idea. Yeah. What a good idea. So, what made you choose communications?
Oh, I grew up not having a television, so my family chose not to have a TV in the home, and so whenever I got a chance to watch a TV, whether it was at a friend's house or at my grandma's house or something like that, I really was into it. I would love the TV, and so it was almost kind of natural once I started being able to choose what to learn about. I wanted to learn about TV. It was something I'd never really had much experience with, and was also very interested in. And so almost through lack of having that became the reason that I wanted to get into, not even communications is great, but I really like visual media, like movies and TV and all that stuff. It's great.
Do you think you might one day move into filmmaking?
I have done some filmmaking. Yeah, I work with my uncle in town. Shout out to Dan Dobler. He's a actor, and we are working on a film right now called Agent Jim, where he plays a older FBI agent who is brought back onto the FBI for a one last case type thing, and so that's called Agent Jim. But I don't, I mostly like to not worry about continuity or other things, shooting it all on the same camera and matching all the color shots. I think that by having, cuts that, someone's holding an object and then the next cut they're not holding an object, it keeps the viewer on their toes, I'm not trying to create some sort of alternate reality for them to go and live in. They get to, play and see and try to see what mistakes are there, and I think that's part of the fun, too.
Yeah,
Very good. You could be related to me.
Yeah.
Freddy. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time that I saw you, you were in an editing suite.
Mm-hmm. Spend a lot of time in those,
yes.
definitely.
What do you, obviously editing goes on in there. What are the details of how something is edited?
Lost Nina's head.
Okay. So it always starts with, getting your raw media, your raw video that you shoot. I think actually most people would say that it starts with pre-production, and it's good to do a lot of pre-production, but you don't have anything to do until you've started and actually got your footage that you get in. And our new cameras, you actually record to little SD cards. I don't have one
Yes.
around me, but we've gone out of tape. We don't have to worry about tape as much, and now we just on little cards, and you plug the card into the computer. You ingest. That's the next step. That's actually what they call it when you move the files into the editing environment, and oftentimes it goes through a transformation at that moment. It's in a different kind of language the camera is talking, and then it gets put into another language for the computer that's easier to edit. And then you take little pieces from the raw footage and you organize them and order them in the right way in sort of like a linear timeline that usually, it's it looks kind of like just a film strip, So eventually it ends up kind of looking like old-timey-er film where it's just like all in one big line, and then you export and you send it to YouTube and you send it to the TCTV playback system, and that's essentially the workflow in terms of what TCTV is working in right now.
What's your favorite part of this process?
Oh, I like shooting stuff. I have a lot more fun going out and shooting stuff. I have so many hours and hours of bands and various other just events that have happened around this area that I haven't really figured out what to do with yet, and so I have a lot more fun shooting stuff than in editing. I do love editing, of course, but it's I think that actually getting a camera in your hands and videotaping stuff is maybe one of the most filling things I can think of. It's sort of taking a moment in time and immortalizing it, so I like that.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been great to be on the show.
Yes.
I wanted to be on this show for a while.
Well,
And the other people you keep, you hear, we here doing business hours, so you have a lot of busy people.
Yeah,
here.
we're doing some check-ins, check-outs,
Yeah.
picking up gear and dropping stuff off.
And I have a real quick question
Sure,
for you.
sure.
Why is your hair one color, hon?
I'm trying something different. I'm going into the more symmetrical long hair look as opposed to shaving the whole side off and bleaching stuff.
Is
But
it
who knows
working?
how long that'll last?
Is it working for you?
I'm having fun.
All right. Thanks, Freddy.
Thank you.
Anita.
Thanks.
thanks, Anita.
Bye.
Hi. This looks like a do-it-yourself flying saucer.
Well, it kind of has to do with flying saucers conceptually. So tomorrow I'm going to be on a show, Diane Miller's show, and I've been on her show a number of times. One show was painting, another show was building an air cannon.
Talk loud, Dan, please.
Talk loud? Okay, so
Yes.
building an air cannon. And when I was on that show, you take a box and you cut off one side so it's open, and then you stick a plastic bag or something that acts like a diaphragm, and you take rubber bands on the center of that and pull them in, and then you cut a hole on this side. And the idea is that you pull the plastic bag out and you let it go, and the rubber bands push air out the hole. And you end up getting this donut of air, like someone blowing smoke rings. It looks like that, where it's turning inside out, and it shoots along at about 20 miles an hour. And you can knock out a candle flame at like 20 feet.
Oh,
And we did it on the show, and we had a candle that was, a ways away, and we just had to aim, poof, poof. So we
Were
built an
you
air
here?
cannon.
Were you here when the smoke machine set off and the fire department had to come?
No, but I've heard about it.
You heard about it from everybody.
Probably 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Ugly.
quite the event.
Yes.
So what I'm doing on her show this time around is I'm building a three-dimensional star chart. And this is why flying saucers are relevant. In space, we have our sun, and it's sitting right here. And Alpha Centauri, 4.3 light years away, is down over there. Bernard star, about 5.9 light years away. It's a little farther out, but it's in this direction. And then Sirius is 8 light years away, I think 9 light years away, and it's up over here. And we have all these different stars that are in different directions and different distances. And a lot of people, we look out in the sky and all we see is a blanket of dots. And we can't tell by looking at them that some are very far away and some are closer up. So when you build a three-dimensional star chart, you put the sun in the middle, and what I'm going to do is I have 4 plates here, and so what I'm doing is poking holes into the right spots. And to make one, helps you understand how it works. You take this, and this is the equatorial line, and it is divided into 24. And when you are trying to figure out where a star is, right, if I tell you on the phone, oh, go look out in the sky, and its position is 14 hours, 29 minutes, and 43 seconds right ascension. Meaning that on our little clock, it is 24 hours, it's over here, and the clock is, this little division is divided into 1 hour and 60 minutes are in this hour, and
Right.
each minute is divided into seconds. And so
Yeah.
you know exactly which direction, because you go 24 hours around, so you know exactly which way it is. And then the second thing is called declination, and in this
Which is
case,
up and down.
up and down. You've got minus 90, which is straight down, and you've got plus 90, which is straight
Right.
up. Well, in this case, Alpha Centauri, the first one, is 62, minus 62 degrees, 40 minutes and 46 seconds, something. I think they do minutes and seconds on this one. So it's this, this, and this. And so by looking at the coordinates, the three-dimensional coordinates of a star, I know it's this way and that way. And I can tell anyone in the world, look at this, because these are standardized equations. So in this case, our sun will be on a little tiny piece of string, actually fishing line. I've got fishing line. And so I will string a string. I'll have two of these. I'm using the dowels as legs just to suspend them. So they're up this high. And the top one will have holes in the same spots. And in the very center, we'll have one. And then I've got these glow-in-the-dark beads, right? And our sun will be this little glow-in-the-dark yellow star right here. And Alpha Centauri is not one, but it's 3 stars. So on this other string that'll be over here, I will have another bead that is round and yellow, because Alpha Centauri A, the main component, is the same size as our sun. Actually, it's slightly bigger. And then it has another star orbiting around it that goes from Neptune's distance, and it's got
An elliptical.
very elliptical. It goes from Neptune's distance to Saturn's distance to Neptune's. And so along that string that will be over here, we'll have 3 of them, because it's a main sequence yellow star like ours, and it's got a little orange dwarf, which is about half the size of our sun and about half as bright. And then it's got a third little red dwarf, which is about twice the size of Jupiter, and very dim and very red, and it orbits the pair at about a light year away. It's way far away, but they're all going together. So the idea is I'll have a little string, and I'll have mixed in that 3 little beads that are at the approximate distance and location away. Bernard star, I'll have a little red bead. I think I've got some little red ones in here, little pink ones. Yeah, little pink ones. And that will be a little one, and it will be up over here.
And that's going to be done by tomorrow?
Well, what I'm going to do is set up the thing. I'll have the holes drilled. I brought a hot glue gun, and I'll have the strings in the bottom, so that all that we'll have to do during the show is I'll talk about each star, where it is, what it's made out of, and I'll talk about this, and how, if we were in a spaceship, how we could find our way about. Because the equatorial plane, which is when you stand on the Earth, if we had a big ring around the equator of the Earth, and it went out into space forever, that would be our equatorial plane, and that's where we're oriented. But the galaxy is almost at a right angle. It's this way. And if I were in Star Trek, if I were traveling around in my warp ship, I would need galactic coordinates, right? The very center would be the galaxy. And I want to go to this star over here, so I would tell my comm officer, I would say, go 35 degrees, mark minus 62. And I would tell him, flying the ship, to turn this direction according to the center of the galaxy, because that's where we're oriented, to turn this way and go down that way. And so
Which
the,
would be comparable to the right ascension and declination.
well, the galaxy, if we're using, instead of solar coordinates, which is Earth-centric, if we're using galactic coordinates, this is the center of the galaxy. We're way out here, and so 0 is this way, and everything else is away from that. So,
Right.
so it would be different, and the galaxy is very thin. It goes 100,000 light years from end to end, but it's only as thick as maybe 2,000 or 3,000 light years. So literally, you could fly your spaceship up away from the galactic plane and get a better look inside the halo at the center. In galactic terms, you don't have to go very high up or very below the galactic flying saucer-shaped disk of the galaxy to be able to get out of the way of all that dust and gas that's swirling around the galactic arms. So the idea is to give everyone that watches it a sense that we're in three-dimensional space, and the closest stars are in every which direction at all kinds of different distances. Some of them have planets.
Well, now, you are a very accomplished painter. How does this apply to your artwork?
And I need to put some in the middle here. So, where did you say you're from?
Canada?
You're right. But back to Anita's question, please. Oh.
So how does this apply to your...
I'm from France.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you have a question?
Yes. How does this relate to your paintings?
Well, when I was a kid, right, I dreamed of going to the stars. I just wished I had a spaceship and I could just go out there.
Yeah, me too.
And the first thing I did is start to read and study about what stars were made out of. Why do they shine? Why were they different colors? Why were they different sizes? How did they work? What were they doing? And at the time, there was no evidence whatsoever to suggest that there were any other planets orbiting any other stars anywhere. But I still believed. I watched Star Trek.
Yes.
Right. Right. So I would dream all the time about stars, and I would think about what if there was a planet, and the planet was really close to the star, really far away, or what if the planet was actually a moon of a Jupiter, right? Because if Jupiter's moons were a little bit bigger, they could hold onto an atmosphere like Earth, and if
Sure.
Jupiter were closer into the sun, if it were at Earth's distance, those 4 moons would be little water worlds orbiting around. And
Yeah.
if they had more mass, they would have an atmosphere, and you could have life on them easy. So when I paint, I think about all these different kinds of stars, because my study of stars, there's little stars twice the size of Jupiter that are called red dwarfs, and you get ones that are a little bigger and brighter and orange, and bigger and brighter and yellow, and bigger and brighter and white, and bigger and brighter and blue, and bigger and brighter and violet, and they range in size and mass and heat and light and color and all that. And many of them, more than half of the stars in our galaxies, are doubles and triples. These are stars that are orbiting around each other with a third or a fourth or a fifth companion. Some cases there's 2 stars orbiting like this, and they're orbiting another 2 stars that are going around, and then there's a couple stars orbiting each other, orbiting that group. There's a bunch of these kinds of things. So when I paint, I think about this planet that I'm painting, and there's a star that it's orbiting, but then there's another star orbiting that one, but it's farther away, and so it's a very, very bright star. And what kinds of planets that we would have to have, how would that planet have to orbit, and how close would it have to be for there to be life as we know it, or conditions such that people could live on that planet. So here is a construction of what is real, the real stars and the real planets and what they are, or the real stars at least. And when I paint, it's more about conceptually, if there was more than just the stars.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so they are related. They are interconnected. But this is more science, and what I paint is more science fiction.
Right.
But they lend themselves.
This makes good bones for you to flesh out with fantasy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I always used to wonder when I was outside looking up at the stars if there was anybody looking back, wondering the same kinds of things that I was wondering.
I'll tell you, you're probably correct. Our galaxy has arguably about 300 billion stars, 300 billion stars in our galaxy. Half of them are pairs. They're paired together. Half of the stars, from what we can tell, when a star is formed, planets are formed at the same time. Unless there's something wonky going on. There's another big star that passes by, or there's two stars and it disrupts this protoplanetary disk. But planets form with stars. It's how stars are made. There's always this disk of stuff that goes with it. And so potentially every single star in our galaxy can have planets. That's 300 billion potential planets. Now, it looks like that not just one planet forms in a protoplanetary disk, but a bunch.
Yes.
And unless something wonky goes on, like two planets get too close and their gravitational pull sends one in towards the sun and the other one gets blown out, or if you have a big one and a small one, the small one goes in and the big one gets a little bit of a wider orbit. So all the stars that we look at in the sky, we can see, I think, about 2,000 on a clear night out in the country. Potentially, the vast majority of them have planets. Rocky planets, and this is the way of the universe, the smaller, the more. The bigger, the fewer. The higher, the fewer, the smaller, the more. And terrestrial planets like Earth and Mars and Venus are very small. They're very small, and there are more of them. So the likelihood of a terrestrial planet close to its host star, like Earth, are very likely. And water is abundant in our galaxy. Water is extremely abundant. And so the likelihood of half the stars in the galaxy having some kind of planet with Earth-like condition, right? There's a very, very good likelihood that many of these planets have at least bacteria on them. And fewer than those would have algae in it. And a bunch of those would have frogs and fish and birds. And a few of those would have monkeys and dolphins. And a few of those would have aliens that look like Mr. Spock. You know, and all you have to do, just going out 15 light years, there's 50 stars. Just 15 light years.
Yeah.
And in all directions. And the bigger the volume of space distance you go, there's a logarithmic scale of the number of stars that are out there. You go 20 light years and there's 150 stars. You go 30 light years and there's I think 500. And it just goes up this scale. There's just more and more as you go. And
so our neighborhood is densely populated.
yeah. The majority of stars in our galaxy, the majority of stars in our galaxy are red dwarfs. These are small little stars, twice the size of Jupiter, and the planet, to be habitable, has to be orbiting quite close. Yeah. And what happens, one of the problems is the closer you get to your parent star, the more tidally locked the planet becomes. It doesn't rotate. It ends up like our moon, the same side facing it. And so that would be a problem for life. But if it's not too close, it'll be very warm on one side and very cold on the other. And if it's got an atmosphere, that atmosphere is going to carry that heat around, because heat expands. It's going to have a weather pattern, and it'll warm up a good part of the far side of the planet, and it will disperse the heat directly, you know, overhead where the sun is shining. And if it has a magnetic field at all, that will protect the planet from cosmic rays and solar flares, Because those little red dwarfs, man, they have all kinds of flares
Yeah,
and stuff kicking
yeah.
off them all the time.
I was thinking that radiation would be an issue for
Yep.
inhabitants.
Yeah. See, Earth is very lucky because we have a moon, and that moon does this thing. Like you have your coffee cup, right? And the coffee cup isn't moving, but if I have a moon, it's going to do this. And over a while, I'm doing this.
Yeah,
If you look at the coffee starts spinning.
yes,
Okay? The inside of our planet is spinning,
yes.
and it's due directly to our moon. So, and that spinning creates a magnetic field. The magnetic field interferes with cosmic rays and solar flares and all this sort of thing. So if it's got any kind of a little moon, it's going to be spinning. And the happy little people on there, or bacteria, or birds, or fish, or dolphins, or whatever they are, you know, giant walking, talking amoebas, who knows? You know, so...
Anything is possible.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, people ask me if I believe in aliens, and I absolutely say yes. Have I seen one? Do I know that they exist for sure? No, I don't. I don't know for sure. But I believe that our galaxy is filled with life.
And to them, they're not aliens.
Not at all.
We would be the aliens.
We're the aliens. We're the oddballs. And like what? You guys got 2 legs? You guys are weird.
Oh, you have hair only on your heads? Ew! Well, thank you, Dan. This has been great. This is Dan Bennett
That was
of TCTV.
Astronomy 101 in 7.5 minutes.
And I missed that handshake. If you want to do that again. Very good.
Pictures I took over the last few days. I have them on my computer. First we went to the Mounds. But we also stopped to eat at Safira's and had wonderful Middle Eastern pastries. This is the totem pole at Tumwater Park. This is the small totem pole at Tumwater Falls Park. This is Tumwater Falls. This is the sign at Tumwater Falls. More Tumwater Falls, the Deschutes River and bridges over it. More Tumwater Falls. This is the waterfront in Olympia, Washington. This is a mural on the side of a building in Olympia. A soft sculpture of a dragon in the library. Mounds from above in the little pavilion. This is the Mounds again. And the sign. Swag!
So how was that?
I think that was just great.
Yeah.
I was very interested in hearing what both of them had to say.
Yeah. And you going to leave in a few days?
Yes.
Yes.
I will be leaving on Monday after the powwow, and a day of much needed rest. Because you have kept me hopping.
I'm pooped. Yeah, but I was crazy pooped before you got here. It's yeah, it's just been a really busy time for me. And so I would like for you to know you're not going to see a new show every week now. I'm still going to play encore presentations because I'm not up to par. And I think I've been enough for at least 6 months. So you just get to know whenever once in a while. So Anita, anything in parting? It's your show. You wind this baby up if you like, please.
All right. I'm going to try and help you pick up some of the slack and do some filming and interviewing, and hopefully it'll be interesting and relevant to folks in this area, in spite of the fact that a good deal of it will be taking place in Maine, where I live. And let me just say about the cold here, it's much more penetrating than the cold in Maine. Technically, we have much lower temperatures and a lot more snow, and yet I was never so cold in my life as when I came here. It's the damp.
You want to give the time of the Blog Talk Radio?
Oh yes. I also co-host a blog talk radio show online with a gentleman named Mihai Constantine, who is the Vampire Metro. And that airs at Monday nights, 9 o'clock Pacific time, midnight Eastern time, which is the witching hour.
And there's always links on Facebook on either one of our pages. And
Yes.
so it's easy to find.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and
We deal with all subjects, metaphysical or paranormal.
yeah, and sometimes we play reruns, encore presentations.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
I've had a wonderful time in Washington. I really will consider coming here permanently, but I wish that something could be done about the dam.
I came here in '66, and we were young then, and the young soldiers always complained at the bar, at the clubs, you know, how they hated the place, it was so cold, and in soldier talk, I'm not going to repeat what they said, and 30 years later, here are these old fogies sitting at the bar, and just by what they said, you can say, oh my God, are you still here? So we all complain, and we're still here.
There are many wonderful things about this area. The damp is not one of them. But I've really enjoyed meeting the people here. I've made so many friends in such a short time. That part of it is absolutely great. The art scene, the openness and friendliness of the people, the beauty of the landscape, all of those things are absolutely wonderful.
And for those of you that don't live here, we showed you some pictures, so it's a wonderful place to come and visit.
And I will be posting albums of photographs from both here and the San Diego La Jolla area on my Facebook page. So be sure to look me up.
And I'm going to post all the food that we ate. Yeah,
Yeah, given half a chance, we'd eat our way through Washington.
we did. What was your favorite?
Oh, boy. The cheesecake.
The cheesecake.
From Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, that's right, yeah.
It was really wonderful.
We had lots of buffaloes and...
Oh, yes.
Not buffaloes. Buffalo,
Buffalo meat.
yes.
I normally don't eat red meat, but I ate the buffalo. Well, not all of him. But...
Sounds like we ate a whole herd of buffalo, Anita. Really does.
I really enjoyed the buffalo.
Yep. So anyway, it was wonderful that you came to visit, and I so appreciate you doing this.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate your having me here and the opportunity to do these interviews and become more and more involved in your show. This is a lovely opportunity, and I thank you very much for it.
You're so welcome. Now tomorrow we're going to show you how to put it all together. And by the way, this is going to be on the YouTube channel here, probably even before it airs. And so you can enjoy what Anita got to see. And I have 1 minute, yeah. But let's talk about this cat, my cat. She is not nice at the moment.
Oh,
She didn't want to come sit on your lap all the time.
well, that's all right. She came and sat on my lap sometimes.
That's the same cat that lost her mind after the drone attack. Oh, no, wrong word. They were, I believe they were testing drones at the airport, and some happened to the cat. And she powdered for 6 months and sat on my washing machine 6 months straight. And she finally came out, and she started to get a little more friendly, and but some happened to my kitty. So if anybody's out there with cats that have frequency issues, give me a call. That would be an interesting show, wouldn't it?
Yes, it certainly would.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's that guy who, I think his name is, well, I shouldn't say, it's probably wrong. The guy's name, I think, was Mr. Hegland. that he said that the behavior of animals was frequently a predictor of earthquakes, that he looks for notices in the newspaper of missing animals, missing pets, to predict earthquakes, and that is frequently a very accurate predictor of earthquake activity.
Yeah, but that's not what happened to her. And my earthquake lake is fine at the moment. I have a lake that hurts prior to earthquakes. It's just about time to go, Anita.
Well, thank you much. It's nice knowing you.
It's been cool, and we'll see you next week with something else. Or an in-court presentation. Bye.
Bye.